Forests like this used to cover nearly 60% of the world's habitable land. They now cover 38%, with half that loss coming in the last century alone. We've cut down a lot of trees to build this modern life. Now what if we were to rethink our backyards and our urban landscapes? Places that were shaped in a different time.
Harry just got his new Toro tractor. Now some men think they have to have a lot of lawn to own a Toro tractor. On the other hand,
there's an illusion we have control, right? There's this illusion that we have some control over this planet or some control over anything that happens. The only person we have control over is ourselves, and that control is pretty minor. So giving up control is just accepting what is.
I think we need to get past that dichotomy of humans and nature and recognize that everything we've created is habitat. It's just not habitat that's conducive to a lot of species. And also recognizing that as land, quote unquote, landowners, we have a responsibility to that land.
From an evolutionary perspective, humans have grown up in generally wild spaces for most of our history, and it's only a very small piece of our history where we have lived with most of our surroundings as concrete.
So we mulched all of this. It was a foot high, probably 4 years ago now. And then in the back there, I put some wild
This is Terrell Wong, and this is her backyard. And in a few months' time, she's going to be planting a mini forest of over 100 trees and shrubs back here. Yes, 100 trees in this small urban backyard in the heart of a big city. Naturally, I had a lot of questions for her.
My vision.
You want to walk back here and see.
Oh, I'd love it to be so almost impassable. So, but most people think I'm crazy. Well, I think everything within even 3 years is going to be over 10 feet tall. That randomness allows that mixture of opportunity to happen because we don't know everything.
And the more I learned, the more I became obsessed with this idea. Maybe we all need a mini forest somewhere in our lives.
Think of it like the mini forest it's kind of like the opposite of what you're thinking about when you're trying to create a lawn. When you're trying to create a lawn, normally the lawn is one species of plant, and that's probably going to be Kentucky bluegrass.
A lawn is really about controlling a space and forcing it to be static in time, whereas with a mini forest, not all of the species may thrive and survive, so maybe they're all alive and thriving in 10 years, but then some start to really take off and others might just sort of succumb, and that's okay because you're not in control of that. You're there to support, you're recognizing that this is beyond you. There are relationships happening there that we're not privy to, and that's okay.
Okay. And so yeah, those are good to go. Those can go.
Human-planted mini forests have not been around all that long in Canada, but they are based on something that has been happening in Japan since the 1970s, when botanist Akira Miyawaki came up with the idea. He recognized the importance of afforestation, something that has become a hot topic these days, and he set out to restore the native forest that once covered much of this Earth's surface. He developed a method that attempts to grow a climax forest, meaning the kind of forest that occurs after years and years and years of natural succession and soil building, and he attempted to do so in 10 to 30 years. The growth in even just the first 2 to 3 years can be remarkable. The Miyawaki Method is basically engineering a natural forest and stepping back to let it happen. Nick referred to it as a form of decolonizing the land in Canada. You're re-establishing the type of forest that naturally grew in an area before contact. There are a number of key steps along the way, like preparing the soil conditions to support the forest community.
The ideal mini forest method, or the Miyawaki forest method, is that you're tilling the soil to decompact it, and then you're working in even more compost, like 12 inches would be good too. In this case, again, because of the existing trees, we didn't want to do any tilling.
And then planting a lot of native trees way closer together than we're used to. It all seems simple enough at first, but the more I learned, the more complex the story got. There's an entire world beneath our feet that most of us know very little about.
Chokecherry's in the middle, and honeysuckle is in the closest one. Downy serviceberry. It's in the middle. That's a hickory, so that should go in the far one. And then there's one leaf for that one. Good luck. The middle section is a little bit more shrubby. It doesn't grow as high. And then smaller stuff on the right. So we have about 100 tree species here, from shrub to tree. Small, low ones interspersed with medium height ones, and then full grown trees, but they're planted so close together that rather than growing wider, the bigger trees, they're going to grow taller looking for the sun. So it's a way of creating a thick native ecosystem in a shorter period of time. The idea being that you take care of it and water it for 3 years and weed it, and then after that point you probably can't even walk inside of it. So just bringing a little nature back to Toronto. No, it looks amazing. It's got, they're standing up, they need a little water. It happens so fast. It's lovely. And it's the perfect temperature. I think the fact that they go dormant in the fall is going to be really quite good for them.
This looks like a butternut right here, actually.
Endangered, no?
Yeah, endangered species. This is a elderberry. This is a chokecherry right here. This looks like a bur oak, I would guess, over here. So this is a mini forest that I planted in my backyard. And when we first moved in here, there was a privet hedge taking up about 10% of the backyard on this side, with a bunch of invasive plants like Manitoba maples and buckthorn and that kind of stuff growing in it. And we took that out and put down a bunch of cardboard. We had a mountain of mulch in the driveway and hauled that all back here. Then we planted about 280 trees initially, and it's been growing for the last 2 years. Yeah, it's just kind of fun to like look back here and see all they're kind of like friends when you get to know them. So it's like having a bunch of friends in the backyard all the time. It's kind of unexpected because normally I have to go out to like a natural area if I want to see. There's basswood right there. If I want to go out and see basswood, I have to go somewhere else usually, but now it's right here. So. I don't love emphasizing the competition part of it, because a really big part of the mini forest, of course, is that there's also the cooperation of the trees as they're connected underground with their root networks and their fungal networks.
I keep hearing about fungal networks and mycelium, and I learned that fungus is really key to the story. That you can stick a bunch of trees in the ground, but they won't grow at the initial rapid rate we're looking for unless you take care of the soil conditions first. They need fungus to help them, and most of our grass-filled and agricultural soil features more bacteria than fungus. I asked Nick and Heather to meet me in a healthy local forest to talk about this relationship between trees and fungus and what is happening in the soil.
I think certainly introducing species diversity is one of the key goals of a mini forest. And the way that you're skipping all that early successional grassland and meadow stages, the way that you're able to get away with doing that is by bringing in organic matter from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because all those decades or even hundreds of years that you have all that organic matter that's growing annually, year after year, and dying off and leaving a little bit more organic matter in the soil for the next year, and that builds up over a really long period of time. So to be able to go right from that to a woodland system, you need to bring in all that organic matter that would have otherwise accumulated and put it down so that it can do its job of basically giving a place for fungus to live.
Soil is living. I mean, it's packed with life. I mean, mushrooms, when you see them come up, that's just the fruiting body. The most of the mushroom is underground in this network with these really fine filaments. And mushrooms can grow a lot faster than trees, so they will tap onto the tips of tree roots and then extend that kind of root system way further than the tree could on its own.
Okay, so then when the mycelium have spread their network throughout the forest soil, they then go about using enzymes, just like our digestive systems in our stomachs. They spit out these enzymes and break down minerals and then take it inside their systems and transfer that over to the tree roots. And the tree roots take that in, and then when the tree's growing, produces sugars from photosynthesis and then sends those down its vascular system and into the roots, and the mycelium takes that and it says, oh, I think I'll grow a little more, and it extends itself outward even further. And some of those sugars, it would also take and send them over to another species of tree or another shrub that needs sugar. And then when it's doing a little bit better and the tree that gave it sugar last time needs the sugar, it'll donate it. So this is kind of what has been discovered recently, that the forest is, again, it's not like thinking about individual species, it's all connected together. And it relies on that diversity to be healthy.
This year has just felt so much more abundant than last year did, and last year felt so much more abundant than the year before that. And then I've only had 3 years, so I'm very excited to even think about what it looks like even in just a few years. So right now, a lot of my trees aren't even producing their fruits and nuts yet, but as soon as that happens, I can only imagine like how much is going to be coming out of this garden. So it's very exciting. This is my edible forest garden. So thinking about things in a vertical plane as well as a horizontal plane actually allows you to grow a lot more food in a smaller amount of area. And so that's what led me to this understanding of forest gardens and why it was so exciting to have a forest garden that also has a lot of edible parts to it. So here we have my strawberry patch. You can already probably see that some of the strawberries are coming out. This is the fragrant sumac, and you can make kind of like a lemonade from its fruits. Speckled alder, a New Jersey tea, so this is a native plant that makes a nice tea. I think that the culture of humans dominating the world is a major part of the problem that we're in. The only reason that we can have that idea is because we can understand how we think, and we haven't paid attention to the other intelligence that's out there in the more than human world. So I think that there is a balance between letting things go entirely wild and being an interactive ecosystem. Certainly there is an intelligence to the more than human world that can let it do its own thing, but we've also taken away so much from it, and we've mixed it around so much that it would struggle to return to a healthy ecosystem very quickly.
It's fantastic, you know, and I can't wait. This one is good. This is red maple, and so as it gets older, it's going to have those those brilliant reds in the fall are amazing. I can see from this one, this is going to have amazing color when it's got more leaves on it as it grows. We don't tread lightly on our land, and the more we pick it up and mix it and stuff like that, we break up those mycelium. So I'm hoping that that sort of mycelium network underground gets really taken care of by mulching and by connecting with different native species, and maybe even bringing some mycelium from a more native area that's established and done well. We're sort of transplanting those natural funguses into the ground and letting them repopulate this area.
Everyone keeps mentioning native species to me, and I really wasn't 100% sure why it's so important that all the trees and shrubs, and even the introduced mycelium, be native to this area. And by native, I mean they were here before settlers arrived to colonize the continent and subsequently introduce new species all over the place. Our urban landscapes are especially filled with introduced species.
I'm just gonna flick it.
That's gonna flip it.
I'll flip it.
This is not moist enough. Oh, there's one right there.
Really?
Red back.
Oh, look, there's a newt here too.
Oh, he's so tiny.
So cute.
Or is it important to plant native species in a Miyawaki forest?
Yeah, I think it's really important. And it's kind of going back to what Douglas Tallamy's research, and he's written some books, and he's really pushed where he studies mostly Lepidoptera, so moths and butterflies, and a lot of them are really host specific. They've co-evolved with certain species of trees here or shrubs or other plants. So like the poster child would be the monarch, right? Everybody knows like, oh, the monarch will only feed on milkweed, but there are so many other species that also have that similar relationship with their host plant. It's really important from that perspective to plant native species because they're kind of like the foundation of everything else that thrives in the system. But that's a really easy way to kind of grapple with it, right? Like they're food. Some species that have been here now for over 100 years and they still don't support anything. You know, nothing feeds on them. They're like pest-free, which is like super advertised in stores. But you want your plants to be fed upon because you want them to be contributing and having those relationships with other species.
We know that from an evolutionary perspective, humans have grown up in generally wild spaces for most of our history, and it's only a very small piece of our history where we have lived with most of our surroundings as concrete. And so your brain naturally needs the ability to just sort of wander sometimes. And so people often talk about challenges in their concentration, but a lot of the time it's that our human mind is being asked to do things that our human minds are not designed to be doing. We are designed to listen to the birds. We are designed to pay attention to the different kinds of plants around us. We've historically required the ability to do these things to survive, and only through connecting with this once again can our brains feel more at ease, because there is a certain sense that something's not right. But it's difficult for us to put our finger on it because in our own lives we don't know anything different.